As you all can see, we have a pretty large attendance. Part of that is due to our poll spotlight and Councilperson Jablonski in recognizing Troutman Middle School. But we thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come and join us for our town council meeting. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Pastor Dieter Punt from the Holy Trinity Lutheran Church. If you would, sir, lead us in prayer.
Mayor, I would like to read just a few verses from Scripture for you for this evening, from Proverbs 16, first 3 verses. The plans of the heart belongs to man, but the answers of the tongue is from the Lord. All the ways of the man are pure in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirit. Commit your works to the Lord, and your plans will be established. As I was thinking about those readings, those few verses, I was thinking about a navigator. I'm not a shipmate. I don't like the ocean except if I'm under the water. But I believe everybody can navigate, but it takes a true leader to chart the course. And that's what you are here as our town representatives, and for that we give you thanks. So we'd like to leave you with 5 P's. Purpose. God's plan usually unfolds over time. Process. God's plans unfolds over time. Purpose. God wants to accomplish his purpose. Potential. God will give you the gifts of passion. Prioritize. God will ask you to adjust your time and energy. And proceed. God will eventually require you to act. Again, verse 3 of our text. Commit your ways to the Lord, and your plans will be established. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks this evening. I ask you to be with this meeting, especially as this group of men and women are doing the business of our town. Lord, we give thanks for those who are being recognized. We are thankful for their leadership and their blessings. Lord, we give you thanks for this town which we can call home and in which we can live safely. We ask you to be with our firefighters and EMTs and police officers, those who serve us. Lord, protect them, guide them, and strengthen them as well. We pray this all and for this meeting especially tonight in your gracious and glorious name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. At this time, I'd like you all to please stand. I'm going to ask Councilperson Jablonski to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we start in with our business, I'd like to remind everybody, please check your cell phones, make sure that they are off or turned on silent. At this time, I'll entertain any adjustments to the agenda. Hearing none, we'll move to approval of our agenda. Mayor Pro Tem T. Ross Young Jr. makes a motion to approve the agenda as recorded. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilperson Sally Williams. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimous. First part we have on our agenda, I'll call up Chief Matthew Sells to introduce officer to us.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council, staff, and guests. Great to have everybody here. Great to have a great turnout tonight. Yes, I'd like to introduce one of our new reserve officers. This is Officer Clay Detweiler. Clay is 29 years old. He has over 5 years of law enforcement experience. He's a graduate of App State in criminal justice. He graduated from BLET and Sampson Community College. I just found out that just today, that he received his master's degree just recently from American Military Institute of Criminal Justice. And he is a former police officer with Statesville PD, and now he is out in the private sector. When he's not working for us, he's selling insurance. So he's married, he has no kids, but he has 2 dogs. And I just want to introduce Officer Detweiler. I'm real happy to have him here, and he's going to help us out when we need the assistance in covering shifts. So,
Welcome. to our next item. I'll turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem T. Ross Young.
Thank you, Mayor. Welcome, citizens. Tonight, we are doing our business spotlight, and Dr. Angelita Lacrosse is our March 2016 spotlight. Dr. Lacrosse is a dentist. The facility is located at 204 South Main here in Troutman. Dr. Lacrosse opened her practice in February 2004 and moved into their current facility in November 2014. Dr. Lacrosse is a dentist trained to diagnose, treat, and prevent diseases of the gums, teeth, and jaw. She has 4 employees in the practice, including herself and her husband, Dominique. It's always good to hear online reviews of various businesses. One I read about her practice read, all the equipment at this office is state of the art. I feel very safe here because I know it's a safe environment. They made the extra effort to make sure every question and concern I had was addressed. They went out of their way to make me feel special and respected, and were very sympathetic to my situation. I've never seen more kindness and empathy anywhere else. They always have an immediate answer for me when I call with a question. They would never try to get me to make an appointment unless I really needed one. Again, I think this talks a lot about the practice that Dr. Lacrosse has here in Troutman. I was personally given a tour of the facility. It does have some of the newest and state-of-the-art equipment. It is also a very beautiful and nicely constructed building. You are welcome to call Dr. Lacrosse at 704-528-5665 to schedule an appointment or to get more information. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Lacrosse if she'd like to make some comments. If not, just approach the podium.
I'm not really good evening, Mayor, and good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you for having us, giving us this special recognition. And we are really happy and glad to be part of this growing community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'd like to present you with a certificate of recognition on behalf of the Troutman Town Council, town residents, and the greater Troutman community. Mayor Ronald N. Wyatt and Mayor Pro Tem T. Ross Young recognize Dr. Angelita C. Lacrosse, Dental Office, as the spotlight of the month for providing outstanding dental services to the Troutman community and for constructing one of the most beautiful buildings in downtown Troutman this 10th day of March 2016. Thank you.
Good.
Mayor, you may want to mention her display too. She has a lot of nice giveaways out there.
I was about to say that if anybody needs a new toothbrush, you're welcome there.
As I know a couple of these young guys personally, y'all make sure to get your pockets full.
Thank you.
And just to make sure everyone heard us, Dr. LaCrosse does have a display out there. You're welcome to the items that she has on the table as you leave this evening. At this time, I'll turn it over to Councilperson Judy Jablonski for our educational spotlight.
First, before we spotlight Troutman Middle School students, let me tell you that in the lobby, the current newsletter for CAPS, if anybody's interested, you're welcome to take a copy. Tonight, in the education spotlight, we would like to recognize students who attend Troutman Middle School. Here with us tonight with these students, we have Brian Pasley, who is the principal, and Kathy Walker, assistant principal. Ms. Walker will present each student, sharing with us the accomplishment of each individual. As each of you is recognized, please stand until the next student is recognized. After each of you has been recognized individually, please all stand so that you may be honored. We would like each of you to come forward after we have honored all of you to receive a medallion and a patch from Mayor Wyatt. And each of us would like to congratulate each of you and shake your hand. Ms. Walker.
Thank you, Ms. Jablonski, and to the members of Troutman Town Council, we thank you. I have to apologize, Mr. Pasley was just here and had to be pulled away for a family emergency. But we are so happy that you're honoring our students. We have 430 wonderful, amazing Bobcats, but we're just happy that we can honor those that are with us tonight for these accomplishments. Chase Curley, who was first place conference championship in the wrestling tournament. Cesar Cruz, who's a member of the All-County Band. Abigail Accardo for All-State Chorus. Brianna Todd, All-State Chorus.
Please
Reagan-
remain standing after she calls y'all's name, please.
Reagan Eccles, All-State Chorus. Yasmin Smith, All-State Chorus. And if I can just mention this too, she was one of the featured performers. Only 2 were featured all night for the All-County Chorus concert, and just an excellent singer. Abigail Klontz, Outstanding Art Student. Avery Bellman, Outstanding Art Student. Edgar Vargas, Outstanding Art Student. Halston Mattingly, Outstanding Art Student. And Holland Donaldson, Outstanding Art Student. Logan Stevens, Outstanding Art Student. And Paxton Parker, Outstanding Art Student. And we were fortunate enough to have a lot of our art students have their work displayed at other venues and other places outside of the school. Marcus Chambers Jr., who participated in the inaugural Junior Shriners Bowl. And finally, Jada Zaccardelli, who was our school winner in the spelling bee and was also a district finalist.
Congratulations to all. If you would like to come forward, the mayor will hand you your patch and your medallion.
Ms. Walker. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Y'all, Boston, y'all come around in front so we can get a group picture. MJ, slide down in front of the girls. It's the only time you're allowed to be in front of them.
They can step up on the.
Town board with police.
Erica, tell the back row, okay, they're gonna kneel, okay.
There you go.
Perfect. Well, I wasn't going to.
Thank all of you. Got a round of applause, please.
Mayor, if I might, I'm assuming that, with all these chorus, folks here, they're gonna give us a song before they leave.
I agree. Also, to all you young people and your parents know, we flip a coin each month to decide if we should allow you to leave or keep you here for a whole meeting. Y'all lost. I of course am kidding. If any of you have things more pressing, other family that you need to tend to, we'll give them about 2 minutes for anybody that feels like they want to leave to go ahead and do so, and then we'll continue on with our agenda.
Yeah.
I had to turn the air. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. While they're walking out, just so you all know, I hugged some of those children, some of them I didn't. The ones I've hugged, I've had permission from the parents to whip them over the years. The other ones that I didn't hug, their parents hadn't given me that permission yet, so I just shook their hands.
It's not gonna be enough toothbrushes out there.
Couple of my football players need toothbrushes. At this time, I would like to call up our committee chair for the parks, John LaRue, to discuss Troutman ESC Park.
Good evening, Tom. Don't have real good news. The bids were open for the pavilion and they're all are over budget. We are looking into the other options at this time. We have a meeting tomorrow, so hopefully we can get something going there before too much longer. This last weekend, we had a sprint into spring. It was very successful. We had 159 participants and raised over $12,000 for the dog park. We appreciate all the sponsors that assisted us, but I'd like to take a moment to thank the board members that showed up to assist us, the mayor for giving some kind words there at the beginning, the Troutman police for all their valued assistance, and it's like Mr. Detweiler, he's a reserve officer, so he doesn't get paid. He was there and helped direct traffic and things like this. But we appreciate everybody that assisted us with that event. The dog park will hopefully be started before too much longer. We're gonna try and do it with a lot of volunteers. We've got a lot of brush to clear out underneath there. And we're gonna try and do it before too much longer because as the season progresses here, everything will start growing and we wanna do it before it all grows back in. So, we made a decision to, originally the golf tournament would have been coming up And we decided to move it till September, and I believe it's the 10th. The golf tournament, right now, there were 5 other tournaments almost simultaneously, so we felt like it would be better to move it to the fall. And that way, we would probably get better participation. We have Front Porch Fest coming up on May 14th. We will also have there the first Rock and Ride, which will be bicycle races to be in conjunction with the Front Porch Fest. Also, the world famous Troutman chair will be there taking orders for their famous rockers, and there is a possibility one of them might get raffled off. So we need everybody to show up for that. March 28th is Wendy's fundraising night so if you can go down to Wendy's, buy a big chili, you can get a family size for $10 and it'd be good for 6 meals. Also, with our Sprint into Spring, we were talking with Bojangles, and they said they would be willing to sponsor a night there where we get a percentage of the profit. So we're gonna pursue speaking with them as well. So, and that right now is currently about everything that we have up to the moment. So.
Just for the people that are here in attendance, what was the lowest in bids being? I realize it was over budget. Just so the people
Lowest,
here in attendance.
I don't remember the exact figure, but it was in the vicinity of $319,000. It was where we've got a budget of $250,000. We do have a meeting tomorrow morning at 11:30 to speak with that specific contractor to see what we can do to bring it down within our budget. But they went up to like $343,000. So.
Another point I would like to say is, I don't know which one of you on the Parks Committee helped my one son cheat and win first place in his age class. But he was tickled and had an outstanding time there at the event this past weekend. And like you, I also would like to echo a big thanks to town staff and police for it being a safe event also.
And I'd like to also thank Justin for all the work he put in on it. So.
I was gonna skip Justin.
I hope your son.
Nobody can pronounce his last name, so skip over it.
They also, for today, I just saw it on Facebook, and I don't have the organization. We're working on the fitness trail out there today, so.
I was just getting ready to, are you able to speak on that, Justin?
Yes, sir. It was Shepherd's Watch in conjunction with Life Construction. The Rotary Club contacted them about helping build the fit stations out there, and they're going to be there, I believe, Tuesdays and Thursdays for the next few weeks coming up, working for 4 or so hours. But that organization partners with Idaho Statesville Schools, and I believe it's at-risk children that they bring out here and put them to work and teach them some good life skills.
And just so everyone knows, this is Justin Longino. He used to hold the position that John LaRue has now. I had 2 sentences at once. But Justin has since we was able to, the amount of work that was going into the park was really getting beyond town staff. It was hindering their performance of the normal jobs. And Justin, of course, was the most qualified at that time to step up. And then, of course, we got Quality and John LaRue to come behind him to take over the committee. Any other comments from the council?
Just a question, John, in terms of dog park, are we using volunteers, or is the park committee doing all that work, or just
Right
salary,
now,
or how does that work?
we're gonna try and get volunteers where we can. A lot of our expense is probably gonna be tied up in chain link fence, so if we can save $1 here and there by using volunteers, I think that would assist us to bring it in under budget, so.
What kind of budget do you have set for that park?
Right now, it's 16 or 15,000, I believe, is what the budget was
15.
for the park. And we raised 12,000 from the run the other day, so. It was very successful. They brought out, everybody got a medal, they had the participant medals, and that actually signed up quite a few extra people to run just because of that participant medal, so. They did that more in the fun run than any of the others, but it was a good idea that they had.
Chris, wanted to ask you real quickly, I know there was concern on the part of the Rotary Club about getting it done, they have to have it done, what, in June, to keep the grant, I believe is in June anyhow. The organization, I believe it's Shepherd's Watch, that's with kids. Is that going to be enough to get it done by the end of June, or is it going to have to be extra effort over and above that, in your opinion?
I think that with them out there working 2 days a week, and then with the Rotary Club having a few scheduled work days out there, I think we can get it done.
Okay.
They seem to. I was out there this morning, and they seem to have a handle on it, and have some good leaders with Life Construction that are telling them what to do, and I think they'll be able to do it.
Any other comments? Thank you, John. At this time, I'd like to ask Rebecca Lopez to come up, give a report to the J. Hoyt Hayes Memorial Library.
Hello, how are you guys today? So unlike John, I have all good news.
Great.
First things first, we received a $6,100 Lowe's Hometown Grant to buy a smart board for the library. There are already 3 at the main library, so we actually got a 4th one for us. It has since arrived. We got the award at the end of last year, so it's finally in. We're using it. We use it for our adult career and technology lab. We use it for our teen career and college prep program, and we also use it to have the teens lead their own teen advisory board meetings. On Facebook, they're actually leading the meeting and telling me what they want instead of going around. Second is we were recently awarded the ability to take part in a program called Mud Agrees. I mentioned this last month, but this month we actually have a schedule. So for March, April, and May, 2 times a month, here in Troutman as well as in Statesville, we'll be showing animal-themed movies and raising donations for the Iredell County Animal Shelter. So as a way of entry, people are suggested to bring dog food, beds, toys, treats, that sort of thing. It's just a way to kind of draw up attention for the program. It actually starts in September. In September, we will be going to the shelter the first Tuesday of each month at 6. So a different staff member will go each month. And we're going to do a variety of programs revolving around the animals, raising awareness about adoption, spay, neuter, that sort of thing. And then Jessica Vaughn from the animal shelter will be coming to each of the libraries every quarter to her own programs. So in September, October, and November, she'll be hosting a preschool story time. In December, January, and February, she's going to do a program on a Saturday. For March, April, and May, she's going to do an evening program. And June and July, during summer reading, she's going to do a summer reading program. So we thought this schedule would allow people with a variety of schedules to attend and kind of enjoy the program. Next is Chief Sells has gracefully agreed to pick back up his monthly Troutman PD series at the library. So it will be starting back up on Wednesday, March 23rd at 5:30 with his House of Worship Safety and Security program. It was very popular last year. We actually had to do 2 because they were so full. I know last year he agreed to come out to specific places of worship and give them security evals if necessary. So we're excited to have that coming back every month. Next is our community garden. We're kind of stealing an idea from Parks and Rec in this sense. We need a little bit of fundraising left to finish the community garden. We're hoping to have it finished in May. So we're hosting a Wendy's night at the Wendy's in Troutman on April 5th from 5 to 8. Ideally, we'd like to procure enough in donations to build the remaining 3 garden beds. So if you go out there right now, we have 3 beds, 1 that's handicap accessible and 2 regular beds. They're raised beds. We want to build a mirror image. There's going to be an 8-foot butterfly garden diameter circle in the middle that has already been donated by Lowe's. We have 2 benches that were donated. We have all the railroad timbers that are going to edge it that were donated, and all the soil and mulch we need are donated. So all we have left is the bed. So hopefully you guys can come out and get more chili after you enjoy the first time and help us with that. Next is the Friends of the Library. Wanted me to mention that we have received several donations in honor of Albert Richardson for programming. So we're really excited to start doing more programs that he would have enjoyed. He was a really big supporter of the library, so we appreciate that. They are also donating a memorial brick in his honor. So if you've ever been to the library, the bricks in the entryway have people's names on them that they can pay for as memorials. So he will have a memorial brick courtesy of the Friends. So we're excited about that. Along similar lines, when Albert was still in office, as well as some of you that are still on this board, you guys awarded us a $2,000 grant. So we have finally finished using it. We're really excited. We had the Native American program over the fall, and we had Arctic Express over the Christmas holiday. So we actually have 4 more programs scheduled thanks to the grant. We have a puppet performer coming in April. For Community Day, we have Ulysses Long singing and a balloon lady coming for the kids. And then we also were able to pay for our summer reading kickoff with that grant. So it really did help us a lot. We really are very, very grateful for you guys awarding that to us. We wouldn't have been able to do any of these programs except the kickoff without this money. So it's much appreciated that you guys gave it to us. And then last but not least, just a reminder that Community Day is Saturday, May 21st from 12 to 4. Vendor registration is now open. We have 11 spots, still available. It's $15 per spot for vendors. Starting in May, we will be doing a book sale and vendor raffles as well. So something to look forward to. Any questions?
Any questions or comments from council? What time does Community Day start, 9 a.m.?
12 to 4.
12.
So from 12 to 2, we'll have the balloon lady for the kids. From 1 to 3, USC's will sing. And then from 12 to 4 nonstop, we'll have local authors, games, face painting, food, music, all that sort of thing.
Thank you very much. At this time, is there any of you out there in the audience that would like to make public comments? It's up to 3 minutes per individual if anybody would like to say anything. I don't see anyone making their way to the mic. That moves us to our consent agenda. Is there a motion from town council?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion's been made to approve the consent agenda by Sally Williams, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Young. Is there any discussion? To clarify a couple discussions I had, item 14.5, consider approval of farmer's market manager position. There are 3 options to be considered there, not just the one that states there's a $10 an hour charge. Is all the town council in agreement?
Agree with you.
That there's 3 options there to be considered?
Yes.
What's the third? No, 2.
You was going to speak to someone, Mayor Pro Tem was going to speak to the ag folks.
Oh,
and
and then
then-
the person, okay,
So 3.
all right. Sorry, I thought you meant something else.
No? Are we in agreement on that?
So the hiring of an intern will not be done immediately until after we have heard back from Sally and Mayor and T-Rose.
I don't know that that's an open-ended till we hear back from them, but within a relatively short period, they will get their options relayed to town manager, and then they'll pick the best option.
Pull it from the consent
in a
agenda.
relatively short period. Excuse me?
Let's pull it from the consent agenda so you can talk about it, because this is a little deeper than.
That's it.
Four.
Any other questions?
No? I make a motion that we pull 14.5.
It's an improper motion. We have a motion and a second and discussion on hand. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Move to new business. We have a conditional rezoning request. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into a public hearing.
Mayor?
Yes.
I'll make, an amendment to pull, 14.5 from the consent agenda so we can discuss that.
You may make a new motion to do that.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to pull 14.5 from the
They've
consent
already been
agenda.
approved?
Yeah,
A
what's proper
motion
here?
made by Sally Williams
It's proper.
as to.
Gary said it's proper.
I did too, perhaps I didn't.
Just one moment, please. Everybody bear with me. We had a motion on the floor that was properly seconded to accept the consent agenda as recorded. As we started discussing it, under discussion, town manager and Bailey made the suggestion that it be pulled from the consent agenda. At that point, councilperson Sally Williams said, yes, let's do that. That's an improper motion at that point because there was a motion and second already on the floor and being discussed. When I asked if there was any further discussion, there was none. Then we voted, which translated to the motion passed accepting the consent agenda as recorded. At this time, Councilperson Williams is making a motion to go back and pull item 14.5 from the consent agenda, not putting words in your mouth, but to pass the rest of the consent agenda. And we're waiting a second. Seconded, Ty, I'll give it to Judy Jablonski. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion now passes. We are back to new business, conditional rezoning request.
Wait a minute.
We actually just declared public hearing because it's on the agenda.
If it's pulled from the consent agenda, does it not come up first under new business to be discussed?
Right. But I would suggest, since you've declared the public hearing open, you go ahead with that and then come back to
Well, we're having a technical
14.5.
issue, so it might be good to talk about the farmer's market. But
I apologize to those in the audience. I can assure you we're not normally this dysfunctional. We have some technology issues, so we're going to go back to the item that was pulled off the consent agenda. We never did officially declare a public hearing, and we will discuss the item that was pulled off individually, 14.5. As we stated previous, there are three options to be considered. Councilperson Williams is seeking an individual that she thinks may be interested. Also, Mayor Pro Tem T. Ross Young is going to speak with the ag program at the high school, FFA, to see if they may be interested. Is that correct, Stu?
May I suggest, staff reach out to the high school? They don't mind doing that.
You may suggest. Staff, are you okay with that? Town manager?
I'm gonna turn it over to Erica. She's done quite a bit of research between our meeting on Monday and tonight. She's got some good information, and I'd like her to share it with you, so you know where we are with this.
I did contact, two students that are in the FFA, Nadia Punt and Kelly Payne, some of y'all might know them. Nadia said she would reach out to her advisor, but she was not interested in the unpaid position, but we're waiting to hear back from other students. I also talked with the Davidson Farmers Market Manager. Her name is Abby Wyatt. Just information, she said that she wouldn't recommend a student because she gets numerous emails from customers, vendors, sponsors, and civic organizations. She said that the manager, at least in Davidson's case, is responsible for finding market sponsorships, developing programs and activities. They actually make site visits to all their farms to certify that they're producer grown. She said it's a big responsibility with a lot of time and planning, and while school's in season, to prepare for the market, she didn't feel a student would have time to do that. She said that their market has no distributors or resellers. They're dedicated to supporting farmers. Their community and farmers appreciate knowing only producers are allowed. She said farmers markets are unique because you build relationships with the people who grow your food.
Any comments from town council?
Sally, the person you have in mind, is she a student?
She's a freshman in college.
Technically a student.
Yes. And I spoke with her. She's currently out of town. She's on spring break, and she's going to call and speak to Danielle and possibly you on Monday, or
Okay.
the first of the week.
That would be good. The timing would be good, because timing is kind of critical in this
Right.
situation.
She said she would call now, but since she's out of town.
That's fine. Yeah, that's
Any
fine.
possibility Justin might be interested in doing this since it falls under Park and Rec?
It would,
Because you have more experience and
it would definitely be something I'd be, it'd be easy for me to help someone with. It's, I guess I'm thinking about the other events and stuff that I have to do on top of this. It would take a little bit off of me if I had, I guess, someone to sort of do it alongside.
And that's the big thing. We've talked about it, and with Front Porch Fest and Parties in the Park and the other events that we have in the spring and summer, that's what we hired Justin to do. Farmers Market is kind of there. Danielle did it. Justin's willing to help out with it. But as we try and grow the market, which is really our goal, that's why we believe we need somebody dedicated to it if we can find that right person.
But an intern is not necessarily experienced, so that intern is going to need guidance.
Right, but this person that we would like to hire does have some background in what we're looking for. So definitely guidance and learn as you go. That's what interns do. They learn on the job,
A
and
lot
so
of
to
times
speak.
interns don't get paid either. They're doing
Well,
this
see, I don't even know if that's legal anymore, not to pay interns.
My big concern, and since we discussed it at the pre-agenda and talking with some citizens, and I will tell you up front, I do not have a correct pulse of the community, just in talking to about 8 or 9 different individuals. I realize on one hand, $1,600 is not very much money. I do realize this is something some of our citizens have spoken to several council persons about and had different ideas and suggestions about what they would like to do. And this is kind of in our infancy. And last year, we had several complaints that the vendors here did not have the product that most of our citizens would like to see. Then when we discussed having a split market of possibly having the homegrown small folks versus a commercial vendor who indeed does buy and resell, I think there's still some mixed feelings with town council on that. Even though it's $1,600, we're talking about paying somebody to get started in infancy of a program, and we don't have a clear construction schedule or even a model of what we're going to build for the pavilion in the park, which is where we hope to eventually move the farmers market to. And to me, it's basically spending money on an idea that's going to be ever changing, and it'll be futile, because a year from now, hopefully we will have a pavilion that's ready, and then we as council will be able to have more feedback from the citizens to find out if we clearly are going to try to go with a mixed market or not. And at this point, we don't even know, so the person that we hire is really not going to know.
Mayor, I would like to interject that with the Tobacco Trust Fund grant, we have told that organization that we are working to grow the market, and I do feel like our market is floundering, and so having this paid position, someone who can go out there, grab vendors to come to our market, educate the public on what vegetables are in season and how farmers markets work. The lady in Davidson, her position is paid through the sponsorship she gets over time, so it seems like that's something that this could be work into over time. That their market started out 9 years ago, and it's grown to 40 vendors now. So I think it's a really good model, and she said she'd be willing to help us, get our market up. She can't physically come here, but I think she'd be a resource for an intern.
And how does she feel, when you said student, how does she feel like a college student? No to that too?
She didn't feel great about a college student either. She's, the way that they started is they had members of the community that came, and she was a customer for many years of the market, and then they hired her, so that's how she came to be. And she also didn't recommend a vendor being the manager, because she said that causes conflict of interest, and they'd tried that before, and it turned into a lot of drama, which is what we found at our own market too, so it does need to, let's say, be an adult.
And I'd like to say, we will have a pavilion by farmers market this year. We have to, or we will lose our grant.
Erica, do you, maybe this was a question you asked her or not, but do you know at what point Davidson actually hired her to come on board?
They've had a paid position for 5 out of the 9 years, and she's their second manager in that time, paid manager.
But in terms of actual vendors, do we have any idea? I mean, did they get to 10 vendors? Or did they start at 5 vendors or?
She didn't know. I did ask her the history, but since she wasn't there at the beginning, she didn't know how small they started off at, and at what point it tipped the scale. But she said that she still has a relationship with the first manager, so I feel like, you know, she could get that information if we wanted.
Any other questions, comments from town council? Is there a motion?
I think our earlier motion was to approve this, given an opportunity for staff to explore the option of not funding, using a model of using a intern. I guess it doesn't sound like the intern, given the scope of, I guess, what you're saying, is really a viable option, at least at this time. So I want to be clear that we've exhausted those avenues. But I'm still comfortable, as we had done in the consent agenda, approving 14.5.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion? Hearing no motions, we'll move on to the next item on our business agenda. At this time, we have a conditional rezoning request, suburban residential, conditional zoning highway business. Applicants are Rick and Lisa Otto, 2.6 acres located between 512 and 532 Autumn Leaf Road in Troutman. At this time, I now declare that we are in a public hearing for this matter. Town staff?
Thank you, Mayor. Last month, Rick and Lisa Otto withdrew their request for straight rezoning. Since that time, they have come up with a proposal for a 2-lot conditionally zoned highway business site. They have met with adjacent owners and have agreed to restrict the uses noted in ordinance 5-16, which are also shown on the screen. The concept plan is an automatic condition. In this case, it shows the site would be restricted to a maximum of 2 lots with a 30-foot minimum landscape buffer. The planning board worked to bring the applicant and opposition to a compromise, which resulted in the applicant agreeing to restrict building site 1 to 1-story commercial non-residential uses with up to 2 additional stories for residential uses. As both parties were not satisfied, the planning board had a split vote of 3-4 and 3 against. Staff agrees that both parties have valid points, and therefore I have no recommendation regarding this request. You may recall that the future land use plan shows this area as a transition from residential to commercial. The future land use plan is meant to serve as a broad artistic brush and not an exact instrument. It is up to you as council to decide when this area should transition and how. Although conditional zoning is a voluntary process, if the council and applicant agree to conditions, those conditions become binding on the site regardless of future ownership. In December, the facade, oh, that's it, sorry, thank you. Getting ahead of Joe.
Any questions or comments from town council?
One comment, Eric, I think even though it's 3-3 split, consistency statement was not clear.
That's true.
They did approve, what was it, 4?
4 found it consistent, 2 found it inconsistent.
So, kind of like, you're guilty, but you're not guilty. So, anyhow, I found that kind of unique, but I just wanted to point that out to the council in their thought process on this issue.
We're up to consideration to confirm the.
Well, wait, you need to see if anyone else from the public would like to speak, or the
Nobody
applicants.
signed in, I wasn't gonna ask, but I will. Anybody else from the public like to speak on this topic?
We both signed it, actually.
If you would like to speak, feel free to step up.
I was here the last meeting. I went to the planning board's meeting, and I also went to the neighborhood meeting we had with the autos. My understanding of the meeting with the autos and neighborhood meeting and conditional zoning is that the conditional zoning will be twofold. One aspect was to try to limit the uses a little bit so they wouldn't be as invasive to the residents around it. The second fold was we would get a site plan that would take away some of our fears of how large the building, where it would be situated, parking areas, etc. The drawing we're actually given basically shows our property lines and the tree buffer that's required by town ordinance. We were not given anything more definite on what they intend on building on this site. The planning board was torn, and hence came the birth of the 3-story thing, because I was speaking out on the fact that it could be 50 feet tall next to my 1-story little house, and that raised concerns. I don't know that anybody's 100% pleased with the situation, just trying to make a way for it to work for everybody. But as it stands right now, this property is surrounded entirely by single-family residential, okay? Everything around it is occupied as single-family residential on all sides. The property to the west is zoned HB, but they have not acted on that. The Whitley brothers lives in the house, and he still occupies it like residential. And they bought that whole corner, I mean, a third of a mile down from Perth Road, they bought that whole corner with the intent of some point in some time developing it. And I could totally see if that corner was all built up and things were booming, us feeling the need to creep out a little further out of that circle, because the frontage of this is nowhere in that circle. This is gonna add 200 more feet down Autumn Leaf if you add this plot of land to that circle we already have. And that's not the case. He's not starting on his corner. I'm residential here, residential on the other side, residential behind it, and across the street is residential Streamwood. So I just still can't get behind the idea. I was hoping that the site plan would tell me something that wouldn't scare me so close to my house. I mean, literally, the property line is 50 feet from my house. And the site plan told me nothing more than what we knew they were mandated to do by town ordinance. So, as a homeowner, the only person I see benefiting from this is the autos. Instead of going down Eastway or going down Main Street and buying an actual commercial property that is some cherry picking and found a residential lot for a good price, and they want to rezone it and make it commercial. And that will definitely benefit them, no doubt there, okay? But it will hinder me, and it's gonna wrongly affect my property value, because who's gonna wanna buy my house later on, now that I sit next to a commercial structure? And Danny Irvin made a good point. He's like, you know what? You move to that line, then what does Carrie do? When Carrie goes to sell her house and nobody wants to buy it residential, well then Carrie's gonna ask for commercial zoning, and then I'm next to the commercial line. At some point, you have to draw a line and say, okay, you're creeping into the residential, and we don't necessarily have a need for any more commercial right now, especially in that little area. I mean, all that's commercial there right now is Perk Bait and Tackle and the little used car lot in the corner. This whole big HB corner, nobody's touching and developing for the near future right now. So if you had come in and passed 2 residential houses on the right, a residential house on the left, and plop down something commercial next to my residential house, this place is gonna be sandwiched by everybody's homes and not in what I would consider a commercial zone at all. So I would just, kindly ask you for my position. You did what I did. You bought a house in town that's in a residential area, Autumn Leaf residential, from one end to the other. That's all it is single family homes. When it comes out to 21, you got the hair salon. And when it comes out to Perk, you got the Perk Paint Tackle corner. But otherwise, we're all single family homes. Nothing in there is commercial, nor should it be, and that's why I bought my house there. It's quiet, it's nice, it's a peaceful little place. But if we keep bumping out commercial into residential areas instead of trying to direct people to, revitalize the commercial we have, then we're kind of feeding the problem. We've got tons of commercial somebody could use for this use, but if we let them pick out residential property at prime price and flip it, they're never gonna do that either. So it's gonna infringe on residents and not help the cause of making town look better or make the commercial stuff we have look better. So I would just ask y'all consider that when you make your vote.
Mr. and Mrs. Otto, would you like to comment?
Yes.
We feel that this site is consistent with the comprehensive land use plan. We think that there are adequate protections in the Unified Development Ordinance, the land use plan, the rules and regulations under Department of Environmental Resources that will not negatively impact the neighbors, light, sound, the looks of the building elevations. As far as the sites and no more than 2 sites. We don't have any definitive building plans right now as to what's gonna go there, so we couldn't produce that. We never promised that. It was somebody who assumed that or wanted that. We initially bought that property because it used to be a business, a home business. They ran a nursery in there. I was looking for a place to relocate my business, so I could get my office out of the house, to do what I do. And we found we can't do that, but build just basically a garage to work out of and do what I do. And we were gonna sit on the property and see what the future holds. So right now, our hands are tied. We can't do anything with it unless we get it rezoned. Can't, so that's what we're looking to do. We think that the compromises that we've made, the restricted uses, the ones we voluntarily said would not be allowed there, will make this a really good transitional site from residential to commercial. I mean, half of it's already in the land use plan as being potential commercial. See, that's our intent.
One comment I have, well, actually a couple comments. We just had an issue this week that has nothing to do with you all, to consider, being annexed into or out of the city. And this is one of those situations to where this is county property, but you are in our ATJ, so it comes back to us to decide. And no offense, but with your history and experience, I can't buy the argument that I bought the property to do this and I didn't know I couldn't do that. You're a smarter man than that. I think
That's not true, Mayor. That's not
so
true.
you're not a smart man.
No. I have built a detached standalone garage on a residential lot in Troutman before.
Okay.
Jim can tell you about that. So I didn't know that had changed. So that was a mistake on my part in my due diligence.
Okay.
So that's not at all a falsehood.
Your intentions to this property is to remain in the county or to be voluntary annexed in?
Voluntary annexation once water and sewer services are available.
Any other questions or comments from town council?
Just for the record, I'd like to note that annexation cannot be a condition. Just for the record.
Yeah, but.
We're fully aware.
Water not that big a problem, but sewer.
Sewer, we don't know when that's.
It's not looking close anyway, I don't think. And?
No.
Not in the foreseeable future.
Stops at,
Well Hall.
Well Hall. Stops at Well Hall. It seems all that hill from there, from your property. You'd have to be on somebody else to get there. I don't know, I can't speak to the sewer, but it's hard to tell when that would be there.
Yeah.
You would operate off septic.
We're aware of that, and for the time being, just my office would be on septic. There's already a well on site, but the side at the top would need to be on water and sewer, and that so will remain undeveloped until that's available. There's just not enough land area to put in septic so that they can use it.
You put the picture back up with the circle and the number. And if I'm correct, the part of the quadrant of the auto property now is in our future use plan. That's the part that you're wanting to build on now, and the part that's not in the orange circle is the part you're wanting to leave undeveloped until a later time. Is that?
Not quite, not quite. If you look at the lot lines, how it's set up, he's talking about, building site 2 is the site he'd like to build on now, and this is would be the future site. Land use plan kind of comes through like this with highway business on this side and residential on this side. But again, it's not an exact parcel plan. It's meant to be big brush strokes.
Rick, if you would, ma'am, if you would please come back to the mic. Rick, stand up there in case somebody got questions for you too. If I understood you correctly, and I'm asking for clarification, you wanted to kinda have some input, protect yourself as a residential place, not being bothered by high walls, street lights, and
Just business and traffic in general, probably. And the way it looks, it's hard to tell, but the front of the property is what he wants to develop now. So that's the part where you see the word auto.
No, that's not true.
That's
You're not doing the
that's not
front
what
lot
we just
first?
said.
I wanna be down in the woods so people leave me alone.
Okay,
On site too.
right, the back site wasn't my concern as much right now. I mean, you're familiar with that property, it's totally wooded, and I was asked the question, how do you think something back there is gonna bother you? That's a really big guess, because right now, we are sitting on straight woods right there, and I can't see back there right now. But once you clear the line to make his fence and his tree line, and he clears out to start grading back there, because it's gonna need a lot of grading if he's gonna use it, then the trees are gonna be gone. And I'm gonna look out of my house and I'm gonna see over this whole thing like a kingdom, whatever it ends up being that's built there. Where right now, when you look out, I see my woods, and then there's their woods. So, that was kind of my initial reason of thinking I understood that the site plan would give us parking lot and building drawings, so that I could see as a homeowner, okay, what am I gonna be near? Like, what's gonna be facing my home, not facing my home, near me, and that was not divulged at this time. So, I still am in the dark as knowing, like, you don't know how it's gonna affect you, and you wanna be behind something, like I said, I mean, the town needs to grow, I'm totally for that, I'm just, in that role of balance, we need to not hurt new homeowners to benefit new businesses coming in either. And that's kinda how I feel this is in my situation. It's gonna hurt me no matter what happens if this goes commercial. It is not gonna help my property value, it's not gonna help me as a homeowner. It's going to help them because they've got a new property that's commercial now that they paid not very much money for, considering that. And that was a chance they took in my mind. I mean, they bought it knowing it was residential, and they took a gamble. And it would not be right to do it that way normally as a builder. You normally would put a contract and due diligence ask for this, not do it this way, and cram it down our throats. And that's kinda like how I feel it's being done to some extent.
I'm sorry you feel that way. How long has this, our plan for that area existed?
The land use plan?
Yes.
The most recent land use plan was just adopted in May of last year, but the previous plan, adopted in 2008, showed the same little node, commercial node for the future.
And I knew that whole corner was commercial when I bought mine. I was aware of that. That didn't bother me because I had this kind of in between me. But once you take this away, that changes the whole ballgame. I mean, I'm not planning on selling anytime soon. I bought my house to live there, but if the time comes that I do have to ever sell it, I do not think it's a positive effect for the homeowners around it.
I have to admit to both parties, I'm glad I don't have a vote in this. I just get to call for their motions and vote. I understand your concerns. I also understand from Mr. Otto's point of view, this was in Troutman's land use plan, at least a part that he's talking about developing now. I also, and I think the staff has reiterated a couple times, with the Otto's willingness to work with you now, and that's what you both tried to do previous. With that process, there's more restrictions that can be placed on the Otto property now that does hopefully give you some satisfaction and mutual benefit.
Anything's some protection.
Then if we just say no, and then 6 months from now, that corner that you're talking about gets developed, or a plan comes in, and then the Ottos come back to us and say, okay, we've changed our mind, now we want a 3-story building here, it's still in with our land use plan, and now the whole site can be there. So to me, I'm not trying to think for you, and I'm sure the council's not, or the Ottos, but to me, we have some ability to have you some satisfaction now if it's passed tonight. And I guess the blunt question is, do you wanna take the risk of that corner developing and the Ottos coming back a year from now, or whomever they sell it to, and then when they go with a standard one, there is no more possible restrictions?
I mean, it is a 20-year use plan from what I understand. I've been living in Troutman since '07. Corner hasn't changed since then, so I mean, it's kind of a gamble. You don't know what's gonna happen. And by the time something did happen, I might not even live there anymore. Not that it's a plan, but you know, life comes and goes. So as the current homeowner, it scares me. It scares me that it'll be different and it won't be residential, and I don't think that's good for me. Any restrictions are better than no restrictions, obviously, but it's still not been my desire that somebody bought this lot to do this. I thought somebody would buy it and put a house on it. That's what it was done for.
Erica, did you look at items to review and consider consider under A. It says the future land use plan is supportive of this parcel becoming commercial or remaining residential in nature. Right?
Just so that I'm clear, on your concern was primarily building site one.
Right, I was under the impression through all the discussions, building site one was what they wanted to start with first, but this is the flat part of the lot. It's actually usable right now. Once you get past that little line, you see that's the ledge that drops off, and it's a pretty steep ledge, it's worse than my property. So that wasn't how I interpreted, that's fine, but it was divided in those two pieces because of that reasoning. There's a natural line there, and there will have to be some kind of tiering grading done for it to be usable down where the creek is in the back, because it does go a pretty steep pitch. But the front lot's more concerning, literally next to my bedroom window, but all of it is visible from my house. It's only a 2.6 acre lot, we're not talking 10 acres. I'm on 1.6, it's 2.6, we butt up to each other, and it's gonna be in my clear view no matter what it is, or what part of the lot it probably sits on.
Erica, also so that I'm clear, these are the conditions that I assume Mr. Otto agreed to, that will, to address the concern about last week. And so, there's no way to approve kind of this condition for, I guess, site two without.
Without what?
You can't break up the two sites in terms of approval.
No, you could, that condition is making restrictions for building site one, so you could make restrictions for building site two. Is that your question? Yes.
And if I may, we've actually already put some of that in there where the site one is more restrictive than site two. That's already part of the ordinance as proposed.
Yeah, the planning board put in their part, and their idea was to limit the front lot to 3 stories. Still scary, but 3 stories, something they came up with is it could be 5 technically with HB zoning. And you've got one layer little house here and one little layer house here, and this is sitting right in the middle of them. So that was what they brought to the game when we had their meeting last week. And that was added at their recommendation to put some kind of more protection, because they could see the problem. You're having 2 little houses, and then you have something 50 feet high go up in between them in what everybody considers right now a residential area.
Those top 2 would be relegated to residential.
Yeah, they had mentioned like a future plan of having like, you have like what I see in Mooresville, like businesses downstairs and townhouses upstairs, and that's a lovely idea. But this is only a 2.6 acre lot. So much as I like that idea, my daughter might wanna live in one actually, I don't know that that's even feasible on that little of a lot. So
And that's my point.
We can only dream so big with what we've got to work with.
And that's my point. I think in our lifetime, we'll still see that as one building. If when Mr. Alder does build in site one, there would be just one level as opposed to the potential of 3 levels because of the top 2. And as you just said, improbable, not impossible, but improbable.
I just don't know the restrictions of how much ground you can use and footprint wise and all that, but you'd have to go vertical on a lot at some point to have it use that. It's not a very wide lot, it's only 180 feet wide at the front, so.
But again, the probability of it is what I'm looking at.
Any other questions or comments from town council?
I do have a question, for Mr. Otto. You said you wanted a place for your office outside of your home. Are you a general contractor, developer, both?
I run a company where we make products to make asphalt and concrete pavement last longer. So I do the engineering and the sales work and the office and that part of it.
Okay.
We don't do any industrial manufacturing, things like that. That's all done in big plants down in the south part of the state, Pennsylvania and other places. So a lot on the computer, a lot on the phone. It's hard to do that at home, kids and neighbors and all that.
Right.
I do need to grow my business and get some help. That's kind of what we're looking to do.
So, but you're not looking at, 50 employees in a large parking
No,
lot?
we're looking at 2 or 3 at the most. We do have accessory warehousing as a use on there because I do have a small amount of product that occasionally I sell to people on a retail basis, but that's less than a 2-car garage. So this isn't a big, huge warehouse with roll-up doors and truck docks and things like that. It's like any business has things they have to store. That's things in the back here that you store.
My understanding, you have what I'm going to refer to as a professional office where you do your work, and then perhaps in the back, storage area that you mentioned, the small storage area. Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
That's what I'm gonna do. And on the top site, we have looked at it pretty close as far as doing a transitional piece of live work unit. We could get, probably, 8 to 10 units in there, and have adequate parking and everything to meet with the UDO. So that is very feasible on the top site to do a transitional live work type, situation and development in there, which would have, by ordinance, concrete sidewalk go right up to Kipper's property, so she could walk over to the new store.
Any other questions or comments?
Like to make a motion?
At this time, I'll close.
Ready? Close the public hearing.
At this time, I close the public hearing on this matter. Entertain to confirm a mutual consent of owner.
I'll make that motion that we adopt ordinance 05-16. Title an ordinance changing zoning classification of the.
One second. Sorry for interrupting. We need to find, the statement of consistency is within our UDO. Yes, we have to confirm the mutual consent of the owners first. Is there a motion to that matter?
I think that just means that Mr. Otto would state on the record whether or not he has agreed to the conditions placed on this rezoning by the town council and the planning board.
Mr. Otto?
I do.
He does. Now we go to consider adoption of statement of consistency.
I'll make that motion. Well, I had to read it. We don't have it.
Motion.
Okay, here we go. Motion that, CZHB -16-01 is consistent with the 2035 future land use plan commercial development goal. The amendment is reasonable and in the public interest because highway businesses adjacent to the site and the uses have been restricted through the conditional zoning process.
Motion's been made. Is there a second? Motion made by James Troutman, second by Mayor Pro Tem T. Ross Young. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-1. Is there a motion as to consider adoption of ordinance 516 titled an ordinance changing zoning classification of the aforementioned property from suburban residential to conditional zoning highway business?
So moved.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mayor, motion made by Councilman James Troutman, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem T. Ross Young. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion passes 4-1. Do you need me to give the ones for your record, Kim?
Not this one.
That matter is settled for now. Moves us to the next item on our agenda, consider Sweet Spots facade amendment, 277 Murdoch Road. This time, Mr. Erica Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. In December, the facade for Sweet Spot Storage came before the town council for review. The proposal included 2 open-air RV storage units on the corner of Iredell Avenue and Murdoch Road. Recently, the owner has decided it would be more beneficial to offer an enclosed RV storage unit. The image on the screen shows that open-air RV storage unit has become reduced in size, with the pink the metal. Joe Folk is here this evening representing this request.
Joe, have you signed in to speak?
I have not. If you need me to speak, I can sign in at that
No,
time.
I really don't need you to, brother. Erica, will you explain for all those in attendance what is our current models and rules pertaining to all metal buildings?
Currently, we do have a requirement that, that the facades are not primarily metal. So typically that would, include some brick skirting or something of that nature. We only allow metal on the front facades as an accessory material.
Any questions or comments from town council?
So Erica, so that I'm clear, this rear envelope here, I can't read the words, you got the side there. That would all be metal, back up to the, I guess, slope envelope. Would there be brick on the front side of that, facing?
No,
Or-
not as proposed.
Do I have the ability to sign in now and speak?
It's not a public hearing, you don't have to sign in.
Come on up, Joe.
Erica, is there any provision with the statement of the brick or brick skirting regarding proximity to the road?
No.
So theoretically, every building on the site's front facade would have to have brick on it? It doesn't matter, just the ones that are abutting the street?
Right, so like in December, he came before the board and, they approved, the ones facing Murdoch with brick skirting, but along Iredell Avenue, they were all proposed without brick
Right.
skirting.
Right, we agreed to the hardy plank siding to the office building that's in front of this building, as well as the brick pillar, and, it's a bent plastic fencing that's, in the image of wrought iron fencing, which is definitely an improvement, from across the street on both directions. The laydown yard for ABT with palleted, concrete drainage systems and, barbed wire chain link fencing, as well as barbed wire chain link fencing across the street.
And I appreciate that part, and improvement is always noted. However, just because one's better than the other, don't get us to our goal of where we hope to be in 20 or 25 years.
Right.
And consider the situations when it first came to us. If you'll recall in December, where that yellow arrow is pointed, we had then discussed the buildings immediately north there. We discussed then about them being all metal or not, and possible brick skirting on those, and one of the reasons that it was passed was because of this building here with the yellow arrow was going to block that from view from Murdoch Road. So that's why everybody said, okay, as long as we're not gonna get complaints from citizens that they're gonna look down there and see bare metal walls, we're all happy. Well, now you're coming back and wanting to make the building that was supposed to block the metal buildings all metal. That's where we're at, bro.
Do you have the images of those buildings at all?
They-
Those four actually do have the brick skirt, the four in the middle of the lot there.
Well, let's just put it on this front one and all be happy and stop.
Okay.
I'm sincere.
I am too.
All
Four
right.
front brick skirt, is that what we're discussing?
Is there a motion to that?
I think that's what we're discussing.
That's, we're getting where we wanna be.
Who's making the motion?
I'll make the motion.
So for clarity, is this Murdoch and Iredell or just Murdoch? Trying to get clarity.
This building that was gonna be open air that is now enclosed, will have some brick skirting.
Yeah, I'm asking two sides or one, the primary front or both fronts?
Ah, good question.
Because my understanding, the back, which faces Iredell Avenue, doesn't have to have any brick, correct?
Not
Isn't that what we agreed on?
last month, or in December, that's what y'all did. You said that's not primary, so you didn't have it on that side.
Where's the main facade? Facing Murdoch?
Yes, it'd be this end.
In the side, how far is that from, Iredell? Side.
It's, I don't have the setbacks on here.
30-ish.
Yeah, 30,
How much, 30?
30 feet.
No, the one on facing Murdoch would have the brick skirting.
That's what
Yeah,
y'all.
that's what we're,
I think that's
yeah.
what we're talking about, yeah.
Well, I would definitely support that at least, at the very least, yes.
Facing, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, at least facing Murdoch to the main road, I would like to see that brick skirting, yes.
We did discuss the upgraded fencing on the side from Iredell, and if I recall correctly, I don't remember the legal word, but the plants and shrubbery that's gonna be there will block out the lower part of the building on the Iredell Avenue side, is that correct?
I don't believe there's a shrubbery requirement on Iredell Avenue. There is the the street tree requirement, which is the 20 or so trees that are running down that road. So actually, I believe they would be blocking more of the metal and less of the brick. If there was brick.
There would be that type of tree that would be close to the ground, blocking close to the ground, obviously where the brick skirting would be. As if I'm understanding, and if I'm understanding correctly, I agree that we're talking the lower level. The type of tree would be more of a shrub than a true tree where you've got a trunk and
Right
30
now,
feet up.
yes, with the overhead electrical lines, I believe the ordinance calls for a small maturing tree.
Okay.
If that electrical wasn't there, I don't know if the requirement goes to a large maturing at that
It
point.
does, yes.
Yeah, okay, so it'd be a large maturing at that point.
So we are looking in for adequate coverage, shrubbery type coverage for that side on Iredell.
Right.
Are you satisfied with that as meeting our requirements?
It sounds like you're saying 4-foot skirting on the, front facing Murdoch. That's what I'm hearing?
That's
Pretty
fine.
certain that's what Paul said.
That's what I said.
Does that satisfy our rules on the front side, and then Iredell taken into consideration? I understand that's up to council,
Right.
but with what we've already made a decision on, is that consistent?
More than, the skirting would add a decorative accent, it's not going to fully meet the ordinance, but that was one thing that we talked about last time. This is mini storage, so you wouldn't get a lot of the other decorative touches that you would with like the office building up front. So I think it's reasonable.
You good with that, Joe?
Sure, I'm sure the owner would consider potentially the acceptance of the brick skirt along the Iredell Avenue for this building if, potentially removing the 4 that were in the middle that, like you said, are further back. I think that would probably make the construction of those other 4 buildings a little easier. Is that a decent compromise?
Send those pictures to Erica. We can't tell you yes tonight formally because it's not there for us to discuss.
Okay.
All right? Is that fair, Erica, or did I say something wrong?
I'm really not sure what the direction of the board is right now. I'm a little confused.
At this point, the motion that has not gotten a second yet, is to put the 4-foot brick on the building that has the yellow area. The shrubbery will be in a manner, as we had already went with the others, that it will be hidden and all metal on the side is fine. Per Joe, he thinks the owner will maybe make concessions to where those 4 buildings there in the back, where we said they had to have brick skirting, being they are going to be blocked from public view, that he may be interested in also making this building with the yellow area brick skirting all the way down the side, which would make the construction of those 4 buildings quicker and less expensive.
But tonight, you're not entertaining the 4 for the 1?
Is it, do you want us to? We might.
We're hoping to a possible compromise here is what,
If, The ordinance gives you the ability as council to, approve alternative designs. This is mini storage, so I think, the office has been designed adequately to meet the ordinance, and these are all sort of large accessory structures, so how you work through that, I think, that compromise could be made within the spirit of the ordinance.
I'm willing to accept that, I just want to be clear on one thing.
Yes, sir.
Because I wasn't clear. I think what I heard him say is, your intent was to plant trees that would mature, be a lot taller than what that brick skirting would eventually show.
At the moment, there's an overhead electrical line running down Iredell Avenue, which by ordinance to a limit, I guess, maintenance is small maturing trees along that side, which is what is shown currently. I know from conversations with the owner, he's exploring the option of potentially burying that electrical line. He needs to speak with Duke Power and discuss what that entails. If that electrical line is removed, the ordinance stipulates large maturing trees along that property line.
And not shrubs.
And not shrubs.
You know, the sound of having brick both on Iredell as well as the main facade facing Burdock, you know, sounds intriguing, since we're speaking of compromising on the 4 buildings that are going to be out of view, kind of out of sight, out of mind, except for someone who's actually doing business within the property. You know, that to me, you know, I'm more interested in what people from public roads are going to see than perhaps what someone is seeing within the complex. So, you know, foregoing the trees, the shrubs, I say foregoing, I don't mean eliminating, but foregoing the thought that, you know, they cover the metal sufficiently that the bricks aren't needed. I would just soon go ahead and have the brick on both sides and eliminate the requirement for brick on the 4 buildings within the interior of the complex.
Is that a motion?
That's my motion.
Paul Hinkle made the motion, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem T. Ross Young, is there any further discussion?
Yes. What 4 buildings are you talking about? 4 in the back?
Right, see her moving the mouse,
Okay.
those 4.
Yes, in the back, yeah.
Well, what about the 2 in the front?
They are already,
Are they gonna be?
Previously approved.
Okay, all right. Well, that's not clear. What about the one in the middle that's purple or whatever?
It was,
It looks
where
like
the
it.
cursor is now, it had the exact same, visual. It just went from being 50 feet wide to 35 feet wide.
And-
To give extra, turning radius and adequate backing
You
to.
stop moving it.
Adequate space for our units to back into the new proposed yellow area.
So I'm clear, that one will remain open?
Yes.
And then this one had numerous doors, the one on the front, so you couldn't put the brick skirting right.
that's correct.
Well, you could. You don't have to, though.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Joe.
Joe, can you state your full name and title for the record, please?
Joe Folk, F-U-L-K. And I'm a project engineer for this project with Darden Engineering, D-A-R-D-E-N.
Thank you.
At this time, it brings us to the next item on our agenda. Consider approval to place order for purchase of police vehicles. Chief Sells.
Mayor, thank you, council, thank you tonight. As we spoke about at the agenda briefing on Monday, we're looking at a cost-saving measure to ensure the timely delivery of police vehicles. So the police department is requesting approval, and there was 2 options on the table there: 3 patrol vehicles or 4 patrol vehicles. Ordering by March 11th tomorrow would save the town money. Vehicles would be purchased on a 3-year basis, 3-year lease basis. Expenditures to budget the year would be $43,000 for 3 years for the 4, per year for the 4, or $35,000 for the 3.
We listed some vehicles down there that we would, as we talked about earlier, would surplus 6 vehicles altogether, 4 patrol cars, 2 UCs, undercovers. At this time, I know you requested the information on the lease part. I looked that up, had Steve look that up the other day. It was 4.9% the first year. You don't pay interest on the first year, because that's what it looked like the way Steve had it on his thing. The second year you paid interest, and the third year you paid interest on the lease. And it came out to around $3,200 that you paid for the interest for the 3 years.
The new proposal?
No, this was the one that we had the last time. Lieutenant Payne is here. He's looking into the new proposal and stuff like that, but until the woman, until we get the okay or whatever, we have to call the Ford and check on that and look for the best rate. As you know, you asked for some cost information. I had Lieutenant Payne diligently go out to local Dodge and Ford and pull all the information on the vehicles since day one, since we've owned the vehicles. That does include your regular maintenance stuff too, as oil changes, tire rotations, all the way up to replacing an axle or replacing a transmission on a vehicle. So it's all of them, that's all the cost that he found at the 3 locations that we would do business with if the local business couldn't handle some of that stuff. Alignment, things like that. And as I stated earlier, you know, to save cost on the 3 or 4 vehicles, we would purchase some of the more expensive items this year, since we've been light bars and in-car cameras, to keep the cost down on the lease. And that was the proposal. And if there's any questions, I'll answer them, or if there's any questions, Lieutenant Payne will answer them. He's here tonight. He came to help out too.
Any questions or comments from town council?
Which of these is the propane?
Right now, neither one of these are the propane, but we would consider selling that one. We would sell that one too, and maybe keep one of these.
Okay.
Which one. If Lieutenant Payne and I have been talking about that vehicle, and
we describe it. You think you can find somebody other than scrap metal for the thing?
I think somebody would buy it, honestly, but if we put it on gov deals.
Cost, of course, you know how gov deals runs. You know, you can sell it for $1,200, or you can sell it for $10,000. You don't know.
But you can set a minimum price.
You can set a minimum price, yeah.
So the 4 that are listed on here are the 4 that you have that you're wanting to sell?
Correct, yes, the 4 marked ones, yes. Mm-hmm.
And what was the year, were they bought new in 06 and 08?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You got another, I'm sorry, Jim, go ahead. I think you started.
It's my time, Paul.
Go right ahead, sir.
The number 2 there, that we spent $13,000 repairing, is that right? That's what I'm.
No, not all of it was repairing. Some of it was just general maintenance over the years, and some repairs, yes.
We don't want another one of those.
No.
Definitely.
No.
And we definitely don't want another job,
No.
the same way.
Yeah, several agencies are having issues with those vehicles. I know Mooresville's had issues with their vehicles recently
What's the
too.
main issue with either one of those 2?
The Crown Vic is one of the oldest. Actually, I think we purchased it in late '05, and it's the oldest car. It was probably.
It's worn out.
Yeah, I mean, it's mileage and everything, but I mean, it's time for it to go. There's, the cost there is there's transmissions, work, there's just, everything's built up from that time. I mean, even the services are counted in, so you've got several more years of services that are included in on this price, so that's why it's higher. And that's cause it's the oldest.
You've had to replace axles on it too. That axle had to be replaced on one of them too.
Because of the driver, or?
It's just wear and tear.
Ford has it on the Crown Vics. They're notorious for the axle bearings to go out, and if you don't catch them in time, you gotta replace the axles too, and it doesn't take you time to do that. Now, I know that was probably been, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was replaced several times. And that's just cause the metal and the parts that they used. And Ford's just notorious for that on the Crown Vics.
And of course, they don't make the Crown Vics are gone now. They're not even there.
1 and 3, is that pretty well normal maintenance there? They're in the $7,000 range?
Yeah, that's probably close. Of course, you have, and I found what I could. I don't know if that's 100% of all the bills that I found what I could in that short of time. So, yeah, that's probably between $7,000 and $8,000-9,000 is probably an average of what that would spend on those years model.
So number 1's 10 years old, number 3 is 8 years old, right?
Correct.
My math's right.
I realize some of the, like the 2006 Crown Vics, one of them's almost $6,000 difference in total cost than the other. The Chargers one's over $4,000 difference than the other. What, all 4 of these currently being driven and used as patrol vehicles primarily now, or are any of them already sitting in the reserve lot?
One of them's sitting out here in the reserve lot. The rest of them are being used.
Which one is in the reserve lot?
06 Crown Vic.
Which one?
The number one.
Number one is in the reserve lot?
Yes.
Yeah. Number 2 is with the SRO at Troutman Middle School.
What's mileage on these 4?
The number 1 out here is close to 140,000. The number 2 is just a little over 100,000. Number 3 and 4 are right now approaching 125,000, and then when they're replaced, it'll be well over 125,000. So approximately that.
Steve, am I correct in what we heard the other night? We still owe money on some of these folks, or we still have?
Not on those 4. We are still paying on the 3 most recent vehicles we bought.
And when's the
but
next
none of
payment due on those?
In the fall. In the new next upcoming budget year, their annual payments is 1 payment a year, and one of them comes up before the other 2. I think one's in about August, and the others are September or October, maybe November.
I think they're, yeah, October.
But they're all in the new budget year, yes.
The August and September-ish will finish out everything that we owe on current patrol vehicles?
Yes.
And these purchases here, Chief?
Yes, sir.
And Bailey, I'm sorry. These purchases in our budget for this year to do now before next budget year?
No, the idea is to order them, if you approve to order them this year so that we get the discount, but we won't pay for them until next budget year.
We receive them before then?
We can, yes.
Well, we probably shouldn't though. If we're gonna budget them
Yeah.
next year, we need to receive them
That's
in
correct.
July. And if we wait on ordering it, we lose the discount and we push receipt of the vehicles that much further out.
So there's no money spent if we order, or do we have to put any money down to order, or?
No.
How's that work?
You just order.
Just order?
So they're financing all vehicles, and once we receive them, somewhere around a year after that, we'll make our first payment, being they're broke down into annual payments, is that what I'm hearing?
You actually make the payments in advance, so when we take delivery, we make the first annual payment.
That's kind of what I thought.
Right.
It's council's wish, but I personally feel like it's not in our budget year for this time, and for the purpose of saving $1,200 to $1,600. I personally think it's something we can carry over.
What's lead time on this? Order, after you order?
If you wait, how long does it take to get them here?
Well, tomorrow's the last day we can order to have them. It's 90-day delivery, plus installation, several weeks of installation, so, you know, we're looking at picking them in July anyway. But if we do not order tomorrow, we, order date would be April
Late April.
14th, late.
Yeah.
Then it's 90 days delivery after that. And then there'll be 2017 instead of 2016. That's all.
You're saying 90 days, once ordered, 90 day lead time, to take receipt.
That's correct. That's what they told us.
So the vehicles that we're thinking about would be 2016 vehicles, and if we wait,
Right.
they'll be 2017?
That's correct.
Would the
Right.
cost go up?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. That would perhaps be another reason to consider approving
Well,
it.
it just goes to $400, doesn't it?
Just the okay, that's all,
Right.
just the 400. So if we waited and we didn't order until July, 12 weeks out?
Yes, still
12
12
weeks
weeks
out.
out plus installation time.
Okay,
Yes.
right.
So $400 difference per vehicle, if we wait and get to 2017, we're talking $400 more per vehicle.
Correct, and
Correct.
if you order in July, you
We'll
might
probably
get them
it'll be like-
November, December.
Yeah, I think we took, deliver like October, you got November on the road, I think it's
Yeah.
close. That's planning if everything goes according to plan.
So that would be, I'm sorry,
No, I was getting ready to ask if there's any other questions. Go ahead.
that would be 7 months from now, and how often do you perceive any more maintenance or?
I mean, you maintenance them every 5,000 miles, and then you just never know.
I can tell you that one car, some of the Chargers, both of them are getting ready to come up there, keep, the ball joints, front ball joints keep coming out, so one of those was trying to hold off to sell it, gut deals, before we had to go and do a full replacement, that's around $600 to $700 for the replacement of those. We're trying to do one under warranty now, but they might not cover it, they're saying it's cause police vehicles, so, that's another $600 on another one, so, and that's the Chargers mainly. I don't know why parts is just not holding up on those, because, they've been replaced, one of them's been replaced 3 times within a year. That's just defaulted parts for.
But we haven't been charged for it 3 times.
The one thing I would like to add is maintenance. It don't matter if it's on an old car or a new car, maintenance is maintenance.
Right.
Naturally, when you start looking at ball joints and transmissions and things like that, if we get a new one, some of that, not all of it, is covered under warranty. As Lieutenant just correctly stated, some of that they void because it's a police package. If the town manager has done her diligence and feels like there is a necessity to have at least one vehicle in the immediate near future because one of these others are having the troubles that Lieutenant spoke about, we could put the ones on Gov Deals that they're talking about, these unmarked 2 or 3 that they had in the 2006 Crown Victoria. Once those monies come in, then we could, or knowing that there will be some monies come in, that wouldn't be as much of an impact to our budget on arrival. And it's possible we would have all that money in hand by the time they got here, to where in reality, we wouldn't have to pay any money on the first year's payment for the one vehicle. Just throwing it out there, food for thought.
Are we also talking about a 2016 versus a 2017?
That is, if we say bow now, if I understood Lieutenant Payne correctly, tomorrow's the last day to order.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
A question that you put up on Gov Deal, and someone takes it quickly. And we got a car that's gone quickly before we take receipt of the replacement, if I'm understanding correctly. So the police department could handle making up for that.
You're just talking
To answer
about
your
the 3
question, based
vehicles.
off what Chief told us the other day, we got the propane one out here that's not on the list, and this one that is on the list, so we can get one of them plus the 2 unmarked, and it
You're
don't.
talking 3 then, on Gov.
That's what you're talking about, yeah.
Or is it fair to say unmarked or civilian vehicles for them other 2,
You're
Chief?
saying just use undercover vehicles.
Right.
Yeah. Civilian.
Yes.
Correct. Same thing.
Any more questions, comments, or motions from the council?
What we're saying is that we go ahead and order one.
That's entirely up to the board. I just threw that out there as an option based off what Lieutenant Payne just said. One of those two Dodges, it sounds like, is getting ready to die.
You said one or two?
Yes.
Just the one, right? Dodge?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's getting ready to have, need some replacement. The one with 11,000, number 4 is on its last leg. I mean, we're banging it along as much as we can. There's other issues with the ball joints plus the transmission we've been dealing with on that. The one, number 3, that's a Dodge, that's the one that's, the ball joints are at the point that they're getting ready to need to be replaced. The last time that, we just had it serviced. We're trying to hold off to do it, get rid of it before we have to do that, spend $600 or $700 on it. And possibly not get that, recoup that money back. We're gonna get rid of it right after we fix it. It's kind of throwing the money away.
All right, my question is, if the council votes tonight to go ahead and purchase 3 vehicles, so what would those 3 vehicles be?
BB.
Ford utility.
Pursuit, Ford Explorer.
Like the 2 we got now.
Like the two.
Yeah, we had the Taurus though and all that, yeah.
They
but,
were 28 something a piece.
Right, but we had one Taurus in there.
That was took off.
Those took off, yeah.
Yes, I missed that the other day, I didn't, okay, so we're talking just SUV, all SUVs?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, okay.
We discussed, and I realized from that other end of the table, it's hard to hear. We discussed, just to make sure all councils are aware, why the SUV vehicle over the Taurus. The chief correctly explained it was for comfort and convenience of the officers getting in and out with the extra equipment that's having to be utilized this day and time. There was more room in those SUVs. You were basically stepping into and not down into the vehicle as an entry exit type thing. And he felt that it was safer and better suited for his officers to have the SUV type versus the car or the sedan.
I know everybody hadn't had a chance to look at it. I think the mayor looked at one the other day and with Lieutenant Loudermilk, and I think you told me that you really liked the way it looked and felt
Yes.
too, yeah.
Yes.
You did.
Based on the analysis that was presented here the past few minutes, I'll go ahead and make the motion then that we purchase, and I can be corrected on that if somebody wants to amend that to 4, but I'll this time make the motion for 3 vehicles. Take receipt after the first of the new budget year, upcoming budget year. And also a part of that motion, what was it, how many would go on gov deal?
All those listed.
All 3 would go on
All-
gov deal, be put on gov deal immediately, or?
6.
The 6?
6.
Well, once the vehicles get in here, we'll put them all, the rest of them on gov deals. But 3 of them will go immediately on gov deals, and then when those vehicles come in,
The other?
The other ones,
Well,
yeah.
if we get 3 or 4.
the three other ones will go. They'll come offline.
What's the council's wish on 3 or 4? 3.
To me, you're at the end of a model year, and you're talking about $400 savings. It's not in our budget. We're going to be writing a check, even though we order it approximations 90 days. It could be 60, it could be whenever they get here. When they're here and ready for delivery, they're gonna want payment out of this year's budget that's not budgeted for. My personal opinion is if one's getting ready to die, we get one. For $400 cost savings difference to get a new model year, somewhere in the June, July timeframe, they will take orders on the next model year, once they shut their lines down and re-gear up. That's me personally.
I'm hearing you correctly, that we can buy one for the same price.
28 something.
Okay, I thought we had to get at least 3 to get the price. Okay, well, I'll amend it or change to one currently, and I'll hold off until budget discussion on the other three. So I'm gonna say right now, I'll make the motion to buy one currently, to replace the one that's about to die, per Lieutenant Payne's, report. And, we'll discuss the other two or three, at the budget time. Am I correct in what we were discussing then? I think I'm understanding correctly.
There's a motion on the table to purchase one, Ford Pursuit SUV type vehicle. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second by Councilperson Judy Jablonski. Is there any further discussion?
Something unclear, on this motion. The first motion you talked about dissolving, I guess, the other vehicles. Are you including that in the motion as well?
Right now, just including the one, and the other two or three would be, topic for discussion at budget time.
Oh, I'm saying to sell, some of these other vehicles. The sale, some of the other vehicles.
Yes, the sale of, well, I guess at this point, we'd just be putting one up on the go.
Chief said three.
I can sell the two undercover
You can do the two.
and one out here, yes.
All right, well, I will go with the two on
I think
gov
that would
deal.
be
Purchase one,
fair.
put the two on gov deal. And further discussion on the remaining new cars at budget time.
Amendment to the motion on the floor is that we sell the two unmarked vehicles and number one on this list. Was that correct, Chief? Number one was the worst one?
Yeah, the one Crown Vic out here.
Is there a second to the amendment? To the amendment to sell two unmarked vehicles, plus number one that's on this list. Immediately list those. Is there a second to the amendment? I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Councilperson Judy Jablonski seconds the amendment. At this time, is there any discussion on the amendment?
Okay, again, we're talking three then to sell.
Yes, sir.
That's correct.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's correct. All in favor of the amendment, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? We now have an amended motion on the floor, which is to purchase one Ford SUV vehicle, pursuit vehicle, and sell three, which are two unmarked vehicles, and
One patrol.
2006 marked patrol car, which is shown as item number one on our handout. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Number 20 on our agenda, consider board appointments. Kim?
Okay, the first one we have is for the planning board, is for one inside member to fill a term expiring May 14th, 2018. And need one nomination for recommendation to the Iredell County Commissioners to appoint an ETJ alternate for term expiring September 2nd, 2017.
Is there any recommendations from town council for either or both of these slots?
Mayor, I'd like to make the motion for the position of planning and zoning alternate outside, that we appoint Steve Rimmer, subject to the approval of the Iredell County Commissioners to that position.
Is there another one, or you want to handle that as a individual nominee? Okay, is there a second to the motion? Motion made by Councilman Paul Hinkle, second by Council Lady Sally Williams, to add Steve Rimmer as the ETJ alternate member to the planning board. Is there any discussion?
Well, that's recommendation to county commissioner, okay.
Yes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Is there a nomination to have an inside member fill an expiring term, to fill a term expiring May 14th, 2018?
I'd like to nominate Karen Van Fleet.
Motion? Council Lady Sally Williams makes a motion to have Karen Van Fleet. Is there a second? Second by Council Lady Judy Jablonski. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Is there a motion to nominate anyone as an alternate for a 3-year term to the Design Review Board?
Mayor?
Yes.
Just for clarification, the policy of the council is to move up alternates to regular positions. There is an alternate on the Planning and Zoning Board. So I don't know if, I just want to bring that to your attention, that there is an alternate.
The Newtown one?
Yes,
Who's the-
Jim McNiff.
We really need to-
Unless somebody wishes to make a motion to rescind the one we just passed, we went outside of our customary policy.
I make the motion when you send this.
Motion's been made to rescind the motion just voted on and approved and passed unanimously, and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem T. Ross Young. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Back to the planning board, is there now a motion?
Make the motion that Jim McNiff be appointed to fill the term in question here. What is the term?
May
It
14th.
expired May 14th, 2018.
2018.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Paul Hinkle, seconded by Council Lady Sally Williams. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. That means we now have an alternate position on the planning board. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Karen Van Fleet.
Second.
The motion's been made by Council Lady Sally Williams, for Karen Van Fleet, seconded by Councilman James Troutman. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Brings us to the Design Review Board, one alternate member for a 3-year term. Is there any motions? Hearing none?
Okay, I mean, did you have, take it from, Levinsky? This is number 4 option.
Okay.
And I don't think we have another, that even knows, take it from, one position.
Okay, is that a motion? Mayor Pro Tem T. Ross Young makes a motion for Rob Bobinski. I hope I didn't mispronounce his name. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Paul Hinkle. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimous. Comments from mayor and town council. I will take those from town council first. Is there any council person wish to make any comments at this time?
I do want to say, we talked a little bit about the, Christmas spring. I thought it was a good event. Adjusting the weather, this year, so we can heat it up a little bit. So, but I thought it was well done. Really good event for our community and all the folks out there. I think really important, so, well done. To Justin and the staff for doing that.
Any other comments from town council?
I just want to follow up T. Ross's comment, don't get big head, no raises.
Just for point of record, he didn't wear the bow tie Saturday.
He didn't have it, yeah.
Any other comments from town
Can I
council?
rescind my comment?
Any other comments from town council? Comment from the mayor, this past month was a little unusual with the weather. Comments, from the previous month still came in to town staff, and with all of you all out there present, would just like to once again, thank the staff, for the weather-related issues that we had. High winds one day, limited, and was a safety concern for our town staff and the officers. We are getting, very much feedback. Just want to make sure all the town staff is aware on our street cleaning. The event at the park this weekend, I've had numerous people, Justin Longino, to talk about what a great program you all put on. And it was a good event to attend. If you all have any events that are in and around town, if you all will, please get up with our town manager, Ann Bailey, so that she can make all of us on the council aware, and we try our best to attend them if invited. Comments from town manager?
Thank you, Mayor. I've got several. First, I'm going to turn it over to Kim. She has a question, I think clarification.
I need, just some clarification on item 14.5 concerning the farmer's market. You pulled it from the consent agenda
That's correct?
with the understanding that the rest of the consent agenda was approved.
That is correct?
Okay, and then you discussed it,
That's correct?
and I do not understand, no motion was made, so I do not understand if it's now just null and void, gone away.
That's
What's-
exactly correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what it is. I'm sorry, what? It dies? Okay.
Okay, a question from the ABC board, who currently has no money. By law, they're required to post a sign at the proposed location of the ABC store. There are regulations regarding the size of the sign, lettering, things such as that. Sign must be no smaller than 9 square feet. The cost for the sign from the sign shop is $279. The board asks if we would consider purchasing it for them.
Is there a motion from council, or any further discussion? I'm sorry. Any questions or comments to that request? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Excuse me?
Do we have funds available that we could do it with?
We do.
Yeah, there's
Make a motion to
miscellaneous
buy.
funds.
Councilman Paul Hinkle has a motion on the floor. Would you like to second it?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman James Troutman. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Now I'm going to turn it over to Police Chief Matthew Sells to talk about a few events that he has going on.
As Rebecca talked about earlier, we're gonna do an event on the last Wednesday of the month. 23rd, March 23rd, at the 5:30 to 7 when they close, thank you. And it's gonna be worship training. As you know, it's picked up again. If you didn't know, there's been 2 incidents in Iredell County. One out at Bethel Baptist and the other one at Diamond Hill. And it gets sent out by South Yakin Baptist Association, and of course I go to Fairview Baptist, so I get a lot of that information. And somebody came to me and asked if I would pick up another training date. So I said I would, because we did 2 of them last year, and they want to get the word out, and it's on South Yakin's website too. So hopefully we'll get a good turnout on that. The second thing, Ann and I have been discussing what you call a safe zone here at Town Hall in the parking lot, where that would be monitored video, where people can come who maybe sell an item on a garage sale Facebook website or Craigslist, or even to come and exchange, divorcees exchange childs and stuff. We're working on that, and we're going to designate a certain area out here in the parking lot as a safe zone, and we're going to promote it. And we already have that type of stuff to happen in the parking lot, and we just want to let everybody know in case somebody does get taken or whatever, at least we have something recorded to help them out.
You can put it under that light that's apparently been fixed after 6 months.
Yeah,
Stays on
good job.
the
What is the town's I realize the concept is super, and I know, well, the police department's
Yeah.
doing it, the states and so forth. What is the town's liability if something goes bad out here and someone is hurt? Could the town in some way be held responsible?
That's a Gary question.
No, I mean, the town's gotta be negligent for the town to be liable, so I mean, just having an area, I don't see any negligence in that.
And one last thing, I was thinking, and all of a sudden it just came out of my lap. I was contacted by McDonald's here on Highway 21 in Troutman. The manager, Wendy, reached out to the national organization, A Coffee with a Cop, and she contacted me and asked if we could. So that was a great idea. That's a good location, good atmosphere to sit down there and meet people. Our first Coffee with a Cop will be the first Tuesday of April, which is April the 5th. It will be from 8:30 to 10. I invite everyone to come out. I think it'd be great, free coffee. We can talk about many different things. Like I said, they're really pushing it. They even got contacted by McDonald's national organization on it. And Mr. Nieder, who owns it, is really for it too. So I think it's gonna be a great thing. Of course, you can get breakfast, you can get free coffee, and we'll sit down and talk about many things. Even if you wanna talk about sports, we'll talk about sports, just to get out to the community and get to meet the people and to show, we're regular people too. And I think it'd be great. I'd like to invite everyone. It'd be a good time for maybe council to come out and meet a bunch of people too. I think it'd be
Did you say that was?
first Tuesday of April.
The time?
8:30 to 10 a.m.
Chief?
Yes, sir.
I don't do McDonald's and I don't drink coffee, but I'll send my wife.
Okay. Well, they said that if you don't drink coffee, they'll do orange juice, or they'll do a Dr. Pepper or something like that,
And now I'd like to turn it over to our Public Works Manager, Adam Lippard, for some really good news on our local water supply plan.
Yes, we just completed our local water supply plan, which is done annually with assistance from NC Rural Water. And our water loss has gone down from last year from 19% to 16%. I think that is due to our upgraded meter system. I think it's given us more accurate readings, and I also think it's due to our better water management, our keeping things on track. So that's good news on that. It is completed, it's been turned into the state, and everything looks good. So that's kind of where we're at. Some good news on our infrastructure there.
We've been working on that for several years because it was high in about 2012, and it's come down every year. And I think, as Adam said, the meters and the diligence in recording known water that's non-metered has helped a lot. So we're where we need to be.
What was that, it's high in 2012, what was the
The
percentage?
high, 21?
It was 21 in 2012, 17 in 2011, 13 was 19, last year was 19, and this year's 16. The state, the standard is a 15% or better. That's ideal. Some places meet it, some places don't, so we're right there on the line. But I don't have any qualms, or I've got all the confidence in the world to be below 15% next year. So.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Erica, the mural?
So the mural on what is now Southern Treats, well, it's not a mural there, but Southern Treats is there. Pat Parker is working, she was trying to get the students over at South Idaho High School to do a mural, learning that students apparently are very busy, so she didn't get any takers for that, although the arts teacher was very supportive of the idea. So she now has gone to Mitchell Community College, seeing if she can get any students to help there. We're talking about this more tomorrow at our business council and retention meeting. I asked her about the possibility of the town somehow supporting just getting the Coca-Cola logo back up there. She said she was open to that. Her vision is more of a a mural depicting, small town life. But, if the town or someone wanted to, you know, pay for the Coca-Cola mural to go up there, then she would be opposed to that.
Being you can, respond to that. Being you commented to that, I thought we already had got to that point in December in a pre-agenda prior to me taking office. It was discussed for a Coca-Cola mural at that site, I am told. I was not present. Later in December, I did speak with the actual property owner who gave us, permission to proceed with that. And I thought we had that discussion that the Iredell Arts Council liked the idea, last of December, 1st of January. And I thought we was proceeding with that direction to find out the artist that actually paints the Coke murals, I am told, maybe even painted this one originally, is doing that as a retirement hobby and lives over in Rowan County. Coke also pays to have those redone, and with the building owner's consent, my question is, why do we not have any answers to where we was at?
Pat Parker did reach out to the Coca-Cola company in Atlanta. They told her they do not have a program to paint murals back on the building. And so we're at this point because of funds, that she's not willing to pay to put the Coca-Cola back on the building, but she's saying if someone is willing to fund that bill, she's fine with it.
As we discussed, the Facebook page from Charlotte Coca-Cola Bottling is the source that was paying for them to be done in surrounding towns, not Coca-Cola from Atlanta.
I haven't reached out to Coca-Cola. I haven't been given that direction.
That would be, I presume, Coca-Cola Consolidated, it's what it used to be down in Charlotte.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
We'll, again, if I may follow up on what Eric, we're having a business retention council tomorrow. We'll, in light of our discussion here, and particularly what the mayor just said, we'll have a discussion on that. And my goal is having a mural up there within, I'm gonna say next 3 to 4 months. I don't think that's out of the ordinary. I'd like to see it sooner. But I'd just like to see something done, something that the city, the town, the council will be proud of, the business owner is proud of underneath it. But just, I just want to get the ball moving. We've been talking about this for 2 years, and I just want to, as I explained to a staff, speaking with Ann the other day, we've got the ball moving on this thing. I want to keep it moving. I want to get something done, and I want to get something done next. I don't want to talk to death. I want something done next whatever we do. And if it's funds, we'll come back to the council. We'll find out. We'll give them a bid or competitive bids, and make a decision and get something done. Again, that's my goal, to have something done over the next several months, and hopefully we'll begin that. The beginning of the end will start tomorrow with our meeting and go from there. So I hope this time next month I'll have something, if not sooner. Erica, I, and whoever will have something concrete to where we can get your approval. If money's needed, get your approval on that, and then proceed with the actual painting of the mural.
Erica, remember when we had the small town Main Street program? And we were, actually I was in charge of the design review committee for the grants for the art, for.
The facade,
Yeah,
yeah.
facade, yeah, I got a couple of them out there. Yeah, for facades, is there any type of grant money that could be available for murals / facades that we used to get?
Right, so now the town design review board approves, those funds, and they approved $1,000 for them to repaint their building. So I
Right.
think there's $500 now left in that fund.